So what's going on, everybody? It's J.A. Salute to you for tuning in now. As we head into the weekend, it feels like the excitement for sneaker releases is back. Of course, we just recently got the big announcement from Adidas that they will be resuming Yeezy sales here for the fourth quarter of 2024, which apparently we got another big drop to look forward to. Well, I shouldn't say too big because it's being reported that we have around just $50 million worth of Yeezys left. So it kind of sounds like this will be the final Yeezy drop. Plus, on top of that, we can't forget Nike and Jordan Brand. They are looking to finish off the year very strong as well. So as we head into the holiday season, it kind of feels like sneakers are back. Kind of feels like the old days again. So guys, if you enjoy these updates, make sure you guys smash the like button. It's very important. Plus, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. Now, before we get into our main story, I did want to start with some quick updates. So first up, we got official images here of the special packaging. This actually was presented by the official Wu-Tang Twitter account yesterday. So as you see right here, this will include the sneakers as well as a candle in the scent of Staten Island honey and a co-branded t-shirt. So I find this absolutely hilarious just based off the fact that Wu-Tang comes from like that 90s grimy hip-hop background, and here in 2024 we have them selling Staten Island honey scented candles. So you gotta love it right here. But on top of all this, you know, they're really going all out for the packaging, so I think that's a really nice touch. And with this release, don't expect like every pair to come with this special packaging, but be on the lookout for these dropping coming up November 9th via the Sneakers app. Now, next up, we got an early 2025 leak, which happens to come from Sneaker Files. You guys know them for teaming up usually with Z Sneakerhead. So apparently this is just a mock-up image right here, but we have a Jordan 7 RM, which will be debuting next year, which this year we saw the Jordan 4 RM debut. So this will kind of be the follow-up to that, as these are essentially like retoolings or redesigns of these classic Jordan models. Now, I think one of the big successes for the Jordan 4 RM this year, of course, would have to be the Nigel Sylvester cosign. But outside of that, I feel like these joints look nice. As well as that, you know, one of you guys yesterday mentioned to me that they're comfortable as well. So I think the Jordan 4 RM, or just the remaster series in general, are taking things into the right direction for Jordan Brand. So we'll see how things go with the Jordan 7 RM, which it looks like they are scheduled to debut holiday 2025. And it'll be interesting to see if they have the Nigel Sylvester cosign as part of the rollout, because I think that was a big part of the success of these Jordan 4 RMs, which we saw drop this year. Now, also, we have rapper, UK artist Central C. He actually teased an upcoming Nike collaboration, which it looks like he's teaming up with Nike for his own Air Max 95. Now, as far as Air Maxes, I'm not trying to say they're not hot or anything, but as far as like in the UK, I would say Air Maxes are a lot more hot than they are over here in the States, which I feel like this is a great drop for Nike. One, because it kind of pays homage to like the whole UK sneaker culture, sneaker scene, which I feel like low-key, they're kind of more passionate over there than we are over here in the States. So just like think of the Nike Tech fleece with a pair of Air Max 95s, you get the vibe. And then the second big thing about this one, I think it's cool because it creates regional exclusive drops, because I'm assuming these will be dropping exclusively over there, which kind of makes it more of a chase. Say, for example, if you're over here in the US and you want these joints, it's gonna make these joints that more unobtainable. You kind of gotta go for them, make some more rare. You guys know what's going on. So I think they're teaming up with JD Sports, another UK-based retailer, to drop these, and it looks like these will be debuting coming up later this month. And then lastly, I wanted to touch on the New Balance 740, a new model which we just saw debut. These dropped via New Balance a couple of days ago, coming in at 110 bucks. Now, currently these joints are sitting across the board. They're available via every website, and I'm not really hearing a lot of buzz, you know, surrounding this model, which I kind of want to dive into why, especially due to the fact that you would say kind of like the Y2K mesh runner, the popularity for this model is at an all-time high. So why not many people talking about the 740? I think it's for a couple of reasons. I think one would be the fact that these actually get the V2 name, because what they did is they took the OG 740, but what they did is updated the sole. So I believe this sole comes from the New Balance 530. So I think that's what kind of makes it a little more affordable, but at the same time, it kind of makes the 740 almost have like a cheaper kind of look, but at the same time, it does seem to have more of a platform, which I think would give you a little extra height. Now, I think the second big thing, which is kind of turning people away from this model, would be the debut Marsh Green colorway, which I feel like would have been much more appropriate to drop during springtime. time. Doesn't really line up here with a fall release, but don't forget, guys, New Balance has a lot of plans for this model, which you can almost kind of say is like an infusion of the 530 meeting the 1906R. But as you see right here, we got a couple more colorways, or a bunch of different colorways planned to drop, I guess, later this year, as well as for 2025. So I feel like for this model, these joints are nice, especially coming in at 110 bucks. I think that's a great thing, but I guess people aren't really too hype on these right now. So when it comes to New Balance models, they have such a vast catalog. You know, we see some models come in circulation and come out. So it'll be interesting to see if the 740s end up sticking like that. Again, these have just dropped via retailers, so it'll be interesting to see if these have a wider impact, say if New Balance decides to start to drop these in stores. We're also gonna see a lot of collabs come for this model. So let's look at, like, let's say a model as like the New Balance 610, one that we saw them drop a whole bunch of different colorways, collaborations and everything like that. But now it seems like as we're heading into the end of the year, that model has kind of like came out of circulation. So it'll be interesting to see if the 740 ends up being like a big hit or has the same fate as something like the 610, where we see a whole bunch of drops and then it kind of falls out of circulation. All right, so enough rambling. Let's go ahead and jump into my main topic, which it feels like the old days once again. And when I say the old days, I'm talking about the hype sneaker release days. We're talking anywhere from like 2016 to 2020, because not only do we have Nike and Jordan brand dropping off-whites again, but we still got Adidas dropping Yeezy releases, which has been what, like 2 years now since the whole partnership ended and everything like that. And people are still excited about these Yeezy drops. We haven't even seen anything like really fresh drop or anything new outside of those 500 boots, which for the most part, all of these Yeezy drops have been just like recycled or restocks of old pairs that we've seen now dropping for years. But you guys seem to still be going absolutely crazy for these, which it just shows you how much sneakerheads are tied to nostalgia and just how difficult it is to kind of break through here into this scene with something new and fresh. Because let's just take, for example, today we had Adidas drop a very ambitious collaboration with Ding Yang Zong, which included 5 different sneakers. You had his own version of the Samba, as well as a whole brand new Adidas model in the Kuza, which I'm sure features like this crazy innovative new technology. But people could care less about these joints, as it seems like when it comes to Adidas, outside of like Sambas, the only thing that people care about here is Yeezys, which, like, for the last couple of years since the breakup, I've been trying to, you know, put you guys up on game, doing these news updates literally every day, but it seems like nobody cares about anything outside of Yeezy releases. So with that being said, it looks like we have another big release to look forward to here for the fourth quarter, which, based off of the sales, just to kind of give you guys a gauge of what we can expect to see drop for the fourth quarter, I'm sorry, for this last third quarter, the most recent Yeezy drop with Adidas, they reported sales of around $150 million. Now, just to give you an example of what they're looking forward to, what's left over for this fourth quarter drop, we have around $50 million worth of pairs. So if you do the math, you have just around 1/3 of the amount of pairs that we saw drop here in the third quarter here available for this fourth quarter drop. So there's not going to be too many pairs to go around, and it seems like, honestly, with just this low of stock remaining, it really feels like this will be the end of things. So moving forward next year, it'll be interesting to see what Adidas does as far as with these designs. You know, are they still going to continue to try to rebrand these maybe without the Yeezy cosign behind them? We'll have to wait and see, but it just shows you how much people are just still in love with these older styles. And it would be crazy to see Adidas take these models out of circulation. But do you guys think it'll work next year if they were, say, to example, drop these without the Yeezy cosign? I'm not really sure, so let me know what y'all think down below. And then from Jordan brand, while they got a big holiday lineup set to go, we got classics coming back, such as those Black Toe 14s. We also got the Olive 9s coming. You got the Legend Blue 11s or Columbias, whatever you want to call them. But I think the biggest release that most people are excited for as far as this holiday season would have to be these Black Cement 3s, which reportedly are supposed to be dropping sometime around Black Friday, but I'm sure most people are anticipating some type of shock drop. Now, we see Jordan brand drop this sneaker like all the time. Like they come back into circulation every few years or so. But it's just a testimony to how classic this model is. You know, the interest, the demand is still there. And you could say arguably this is like a top 10, top 5 Jordan retro release of all time. They're that good. So with that being said, Jordan Brand, it seems like they're doing this release the right way, as they're going to be absolutely flooding the market, making hundreds of thousands of pairs of these, just enough to go around, but still not enough, you know, for everybody. So of course, if you guys sleep, you will miss out, but I would imagine that these aren't going to be like going crazy for resale or anything like that. Not like the old days, but more so like, let's say those reimagined threes that we saw drop, what was it, last year? Probably somewhere like that. So you got to love it. I think this will probably be one of people's sneakers of the year. I would put it right up there with when you talk about like major Jordan retro releases this year. You could put them right up there with those, like, let's say Bred 4 reimagines or some of the other hottest releases. Now, on top of those, you also have the big Travis Scott releases to look forward to, as there's been a couple Jumpman Jack colorways floating around, as well as those velvet brown, I forgot what they're calling them, but them brown Travis Scott Jordan 1s, which off the early impressions, people were saying those were one of the ugliest Travis Scott releases. But just like the Elkins high joints, you already know once them joints get closer to the release date, people are going to be selling their souls for a chance to grab them right there. Which there was this image floating around of a pair with like a nice cream sail lace, which made those a lot more appealing. But just note that that was actually like a little lace swap, and those will not actually be included with the retail pairs. But I feel like them joints ain't too bad, and it looks like that'll be a big Christmas Day release, as they're set to drop like, I guess, a few days before the holidays. So big Travis Scott releases, and then come next year, of course, we have the rumored Off-White collaborations, which are set to resume with Nike and Jordan Brand. So as far as releases, while I'm sure everybody's going to be checking, you know, for those Jordan 3s, just for someone like me, what I would like to call myself like an OG that's been around the sneaker game for so long, grew up in the 90s watching MJ, had like a little short, small retail stint working at Champ Sports for a few months back in high school or whatever. I would say, you know, with me following the sneaker game for so long, like these Jordan retros, some of them aren't as appealing. While I know the black cement 3s are an all-time classic, you know, I had my pair back in the day. So here in 2024, while I know everybody's going to be really excited for that pair, I would say that's a release I'm actually not checking for. When it comes to like classic Jordan retros, I'm more of like somebody that's going to be looking for those olive 9s, which are going to be dropping. I feel like that one's a little more appealing to me, just because like the 9s have never been super hyped for me. It's just one that I've never added to my collection. And due to the fact that we haven't seen that olive colorway come out in true form in a while, I think that's the one that I'm going to be adding to my collection. And while I know everybody loves them 3s, the 11s are probably going to be hot. I think Jordans like the 17, which we saw drop this year, are much more exciting, just because it takes you out of the typical numbers 1 through 14. And we saw how the public responded. Even though those releases were in limited capacity, it seems like there was a lot more excitement, especially for people that have been following Jordan Brand releases for so long, or have nostalgia for when them joints originally released, or maybe you couldn't get them back in the day like myself. So I feel like Jordans outside of the typical 1s through 14 are much more exciting, and that's the bag that I want to see Jordan Brand get into. I know next year they are bringing back a lot of these classics, you know what I'm saying, all those pairs and everything, but I would like to see them get into that bag, like, you know, retros 15 and up. So we'll see what the future holds, but I think that's what I'm most excited about. But of course, I just wanted to cover what's exciting for this coming holiday season, and kind of what to look forward to, you know, here in the sneaker community or whatever. So guys, if y'all enjoyed today's update, make sure y'all smash the like button, and I highly encourage y'all to subscribe to the channel, come along for the ride, because what you have here is somebody bringing authenticity here to the sneaker scene, covering a broad spectrum of topics from Jordan Brand, Adidas, even down to New Balance. So guys, sub up to the channel. Most of these sneaker YouTubers, they're just gonna steer you into the wrong direction. They really don't have their own opinions. They're kind of just following like the mainstream. And I would even look at them as more so as like just sneaker resellers, or even more, I hate to say it, but culture vultures. So guys, if y'all want to get with somebody authentic here in the sneaker scene, go ahead and tap in on that subscribe button and come along for the ride. So that's it for y'all for today. I hope everybody has a great weekend. I'll be checking in with you guys for a couple of updates here and there for the weekend. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay blessed. Until next time, I'm out, y'all. Love.